29F, am seriously considering leaving my husband, 34M, with a 4-month-old. I never thought I'd be in this situation, but here I am, feeling completely lost and heartbroken. I'm seriously considering leaving my husband, and I just need to vent or get some advice. I know I'm not perfect, but I've done everything I can to be a good mom and wife. I went back to work full-time and often work late into the night, yet I still do my best to feed my baby, spend quality time with her, and wake up for her at night. On top of that, I'm dealing with emotional pain from my parents' marriage. My father has always treated my mother poorly, and it's devastating to see. I promised myself I'd never let myself end up in a similar situation. But here I am. I married someone who speaks to me so rudely and even curses at me. During our last argument, he went as far as telling me that my daughter will hate me like everyone else, and even called me ugly as F. Those words cut so deep. Hate is a big word, and I don't think I know anyone who truly hates me. In fact, I can't think of anyone who does. The way he said it made me realize that's probably a feeling he has inside toward me, and he just let it out in that cruel way. I believe only someone who hates you can say something that vile. I've rarely experienced hatred in my life, but for the first time, I'm starting to understand what it feels like with my own husband. The thought that one day my daughter might understand and witness her father treating me this way gives me chills. I've worked so hard my entire life, academically and professionally, to achieve the things I have today, yet when it comes to my personal life, I feel like I've completely failed. This isn't the first time something like this has happened. I've forgiven him many times, first because I was pregnant, and now because we have a baby. But with every argument, I fall more and more out of love. I can feel the day coming when I won't be able to take it anymore. I don't want to give up too soon, but I also don't want to stay in a situation that feels so toxic and unhealthy, for me and my daughter. Has anyone been through something similar? How do you even start figuring out what to do next? I feel like I've tried everything, but nothing changes. Any advice would mean the world to me. Thank you. That is emotional abuse. The way he is speaking to you, he will speak to his daughter. Your daughter will grow up and hear her dad be abusive and insulting and disregarding of her mother. Your daughter will see the true colors of her dad. She may resent you when she's older for not leaving a toxic situation. This is not a healthy home environment to raise your child. He will eventually say horrible words to his daughter. Well, he does to you despite marrying you and saying he loves you. Love is not abuse. Love is not meant to hurt. I was in your situation. Better to end things now than to let your daughter absorb what your husband says. In this instance, your baby needs to be protected. Serve him and find someone who actually loves you. Go to a lawyer ASAP. Do not tell your husband you are thinking of leaving him. He will become abusive. Make moves in secret. Make sure you have enough money and an escape plan. Maybe stay with a friend when you think things through. I promise you with all the authority I have as spinster cat lady that spends way too much time on Reddit, you would not be giving up too soon. No person should ever have to wait for their partner to act like someone that loves them. As a mom, you will be doing yourself and your baby a favor by removing yourself from this situation. Giving you a great big hug in my heart. My 28 female, BF, 31 male, sent an inappropriate picture to my sister, 32 female, while drunk. My 28 female, boyfriend, 31 male, sent a D pic to my sister while in the shower the other night. He came home from drinking with his friends and took a quick shower before getting ready to go to a different bar with me and his friends. He was already pretty drunk by then, but we had a good time. Until the next morning when my sister called me and told me what happened, and I was mortified. I confronted him about it and he acted surprised and said he drank so much that night he doesn't even remember. I don't know how I should move forward from here. We've been together for nearly 5 years and I live with him. I was actually feeling so secure in our relationship lately, so this came as a shock. IDK if it's worth salvaging or not. Any advice of what I should do? Is it worth trying to save? I'm not sure how to build trust back up, not to mention how awkward it will be with my family now. Too long did not read. My boyfriend of almost 5 years sent a D pic to my sister when drunk and IDK how to react. There's no coming back from that. Even if he didn't mean to send it to her, he was sending it to someone. Maybe he didn't mean to send it to her, but he was sending it to someone. NGLI would have snooped his phone before confronting him, but then I'm a bad person. Don't date someone you can't trust, and a guy who gets so drunk that he doesn't remember sending pictures of his junk is definitely someone you can't trust. No, it's not worth staying. Whether it was meant for her or not, it was meant for someone. I'm calling BS. If he was so drunk that he doesn't remember any of it, how was he able to properly shower, take out his phone, open the camera app, pull down pants, presumably be hard, take a pic, send picture, and it just happened to accidentally go to your sister? Was he slurring his words? Falling over? Showering with clothes on? When someone is so drunk that it causes a blackout, you would typically see they are sloppy drunk. Even then, most people don't get blackout boners that end up going to their GF's sister lol. Definitely possible. Just less likely lol. Sexual harassment of your sister is not a deal breaker for you? You'll stay with a man who sends your sister an unsolicited dick pic? Holy shit, what is wrong with people? I've gotten pretty drunk in my life, and I've never gotten drunk enough to send a picture of my genitals to someone, much less my partner's sibling. You know why I've never done that? Because it is a thought that has never entered my mind. I'm a firm believer that being drunk doesn't put new ideas in your head, it just lowers your inhibitions to where you act out what was already there. My 27F friend brought her 26F sick son to my house. I'm really mad. How do I get over it? This weekend I invited 2 of my coworkers over to hang out, both are 26F. One of them, I'll call her B, brought her son 2M, which I thought would be no big deal. Her son was a terror, he has no boundaries set with him at all. He threw things, hit my kids, kept spitting everywhere, and the worst part was that his mom made a comment about him being sick. This kid even broke one of my old electronics. Don't get me wrong, I love kids, I have 3 of my own, so I don't dislike children. The problem is, her son coughed in my face and now I'm sick. I feel really disrespected that she brought her son knowing he wasn't well, wouldn't get onto him at all, and now I have to be the one to suffer from that. My husband 28M and my 2 friends are saying they can't wait to hang out again, but I don't want to hang out with her ever again. I'm not good at confrontation, but I know I can't pretend to be busy forever, plus I work with her, so I have to see her every day. I just am not sure what to do, any advice would be really appreciated. Just accept the fact that she's not the best mom, and move on with life without her being a part of it. I'd be livid. I'd tell her to leave immediately. But good on you for being somewhat patient. Well, now you know. I would mention to her that you got sick because she brought he kid to your house and that's not cool. I wouldn't have her to my house. Nothing you can do except not invite her again. Keep a little distance from her at work, too. Your husband needs to be on your side. You need to get over your fear of confrontation and tell her that it wasn't acceptable to come over and bring her child knowing that he was sick. Now you're sick. Plus she lets her child run around like the devil. Adults who have small children shouldn't expect to not have to manage their children when they're socializing at someone else's house. Be polite, be direct, and tell her what your standards are, and then don't invite her over until her kids are older. In the future, if they're running around like little hellions, you put a stop to it and say that it's not okay to do in my house, and if they can't follow your rules, they can leave. Your husband needs to back you up. Your best bet is to get over it and accept that this is the person she is and act accordingly from now on. 2-year-olds can be terrors. I'm 34F, currently 3 weeks sick because my sil brought her sick kid over on Christmas, sicker than F. I asked her about it and she said allergies. We all got it, even had to put my kid, 3M, in a prone position to sleep. I'm 30W pregnant and the sickness won't let go of me. I was hoping to get some serious things done with the house during my husband's Christmas break, but nope. I'm mad for you. My boyfriend 29M left me after I told him I 25F was sod. My boyfriend broke up with me last night. Long story short is the other day when talking about people we'd slept with I mentioned having been possibly sawed twice. As I felt those times I was pressured into it. The day before yesterday he began pushing for details which yesterday led into him asking for a name for one of the people specifically. I finally gave in after he pushed me and said he might break up with me if I didn't tell him because by that point it started becoming clear to him he might know him. I said the name. The issue is the person is in fact someone he knows because the person was around when I first started hanging out with him and I had maybe even introduced them. I cannot remember. I know it's so stupid, but after the saw, I don't think I fully processed it and I did not cut the person off. I knew deep down I hated the person, but it was confusing and overwhelming, and I blamed myself. There was a lot in play: guilt, shame, Stockholm syndrome. I had lived with the person for a little because I had no place to go, house. The person also subtly threatened me here and there, so I think I was afraid. After my boyfriend, I guess now ex, and I started dating officially, he was completely gone though and I had no contact with him. For this reason I never felt I needed to mention it to my boyfriend or anyone, and I hoped things could be left in the past. I told myself I'd never speak of what had happened, but last night I did. I opened up about the most traumatic experience in my life and the person I trusted most left. He called me a liar because he said when he first asked me if he knew him I said, no. I can't remember doing that. I think I just skirted the question, but I really can't remember now. I never intended to lie. He also can't trust me to have boundaries and is hurt the guy was around me still when we met. After he said these things he said he can never trust me again and that we were over. After a minute of me trying to salvage the relationship he hung up. I've never felt so empty in my entire life. I was really truly in love with him and we had seen a future together despite our relationship only being 5/6 of a month. I'd never met someone I felt so comfortable and close to. Also for context, he is fearful avoidant, so I know I really hurt him too. I might even be blocked now. What can I do? Do I reach out or is this really the end? Let him go. He showed you who he is and he doesn't deserve you. Go to therapy and work through all of this. You will find someone who won't give you ultimatums to disclose your past. You should have been comfortable with opening up with him before it even gotten there. The fact that you weren't is telling in itself. Someone who threatens to leave you if you don't tell him the name of your rapist, then proceeds to leave you anyway when he doesn't like your answer and calls you a liar in the process, is not worth your time, energy, or attention. He's an immature shithead. He'll probably try to beg forgiveness in a few days and you should tell him not to bother. You deserve someone who treats you so much better than that. Said he might break up with me if I didn't tell him. This is quite a big red flag. Since when does your boyfriend it's okay to emotionally guilt trip a victim of Saw? I opened up about the most traumatic experience in my life and the person I trusted most left. I was really truly in love with him and we had seen a future together despite our relationship only being 5/6 of a month. I'd never met someone I felt so comfortable and close to. I'm sorry you had to experience this, but your ex was not a good egg in the first place. Please go back to counseling and learn to set healthier boundaries for yourself. You didn't owe your ex a name, and he should have simply accepted a no. You dodged a bullet here. What you do now is figure out how to find the self-respect to realize that. He wanted the truth, then couldn't handle the truth, and is now blaming you for that. He told you to be more firm in your boundaries, and yet pushed your boundaries around telling him about the Saw and leveraged your relationship while pushing that boundary. Be done with this man. He's not worth it. The trash takes itself out. This was never someone you could trust.